Yeah, I'm Bob Clouse, and I'm the project engineer on this project for Saint Vincent. This is the Science Center. And we're outside today pouring the last of the concrete foundations. And this foundation is going to be in the atrium area, and it'll be for the planetarium. So once that's poured, next week the structural steel will start to show up to build the atrium, which goes out in front of the plastic tent structure that you see in the background. Okay, this, as we said before, they're pouring the last of the concrete for the planetarium foundation, and they're using a pumper truck. So they load concrete into a hopper in the back of this truck. It is pumped then to remote locations, much easier than the old way of using wheelbarrows to get it back there. So that's what's being done here. They'll be done here shortly, and that'll be the end of the concrete for a while because all the other foundations have been poured. Okay, we're looking at the front of the atrium here. The curved section of concrete is the atrium foundation. So the entire front of this building will be glass that sets on top of this about 2 foot thick, 30-inch thick foundation wall. So that's what the workers are doing here. They're preparing to put the structural steel up, which should arrive next week. Okay, this is what we're going to be looking at when we go inside. It's the first floor plan of the Science Center. This is the core building, the center building that's being done right now. The only thing that's not been built is the atrium, which is what we were looking at the foundation of before out here. The rest of the building sits back here. It's made up of a lecture hall, which is about 80 people. That's here. We have an anatomy lab, complete with a cold room. We have a chemical storage area. This is the digital imaging lab. Other than that, we have offices. We have the dean's office, conference room, a couple of offices up front. There's an elevator in the building. Once the atrium is completed, which ought to be, the roof ought to be going on within a couple of weeks, we will build the planetarium inside, and it will have a mezzanine area and some conference space out in on a mezzanine there also. So that's basically what we're going to be looking at. There's restrooms, of course, and storage and janitorial supply rooms all on this floor. We're working up here on this stairwell going into chemistry. They removed the roof that was up there, and they're setting a new concrete stairwell down. We're standing in the back of the lecture hall right now. And this is the area that's going to hold about 80 seats down in this compressed area. There's kind of a stage area where the professor will stand. There'll be a couple of screens up there that'll be able to come down. There'll be a projector that hangs out of the ceiling above us to put images on the screens. So this is probably the largest room in this building, on the first floor anyways. And we see it as a very multi-functional area for lectures, for the use of the digital equipment. Okay, on the mechanical side of the building's going to be heated and cooled with a geothermal system, which means there will be, for this building and the biology building alone, there'll be 227 wells down underground. These wells go down 220 feet each. There'll be a coolant that's put down into the well that picks up heat and or cooling, depending on what season of the year it is, that is used then through a heat exchanger, a heat pump if you will, to either heat or cool the building. It's a big cost-saving measure from the standpoint of using natural gas or any other type of energy. So these things typically pay for themselves in 4 or 5 years. This particular one is a very expensive system. Just the wells themselves and some of the equipment's about $1 million. So we're investing a lot of money into the green features of this building. We anticipate, in addition to the geothermal, that we will achieve LEED certification to the gold level, which is the second highest level you can achieve. In one of the hallways is one of the main avenues for the piping in the building. Of course, there's gas systems for the labs, the natural gas, nitrogen, etc. There's water piping. There's the mineralized water piping. There's the heating pipes. There's the sprinkler systems for the fire protection. So there's many different piping systems that have to fit into a small area. So a lot of coordination went into that. And in addition to the piping, of course, is all the ductwork for the ventilation system, the hoods, and so on. It's inside the laboratories. So it's quite a feat to get that all in there. Most of it's up in there now. There's still a little bit more to put in, but they're coming along well. A little bit about the ceilings here. We're actually in some of the lab space, and inside the lab, the ceiling will have this board that we're seeing up here, this tan gray colored board. It's called tectum. And that particular stuff will take care of a lot of the noise control in the room. On the sides then of the beams and the steel is the fireproofing that was sprayed on everything to protect the building from any fire hazards, so that in case of a fire, the structural integrity of the building will be intact. Okay, we're in an area right now between the Science Center and the grist mill. The grist mill's down over and to the right. And this area is soybean field that's going to be used to put in the geothermal wells. These are the wells that we pump fluid down into and bring it back up to extract heat and cooling out of the earth. And this field is about 100 foot wide and 500 foot long, and it will house 227 wells for just the biology and the core building of the new Science Center. So right now we're preparing the grades and so on to get started with the drilling. Once the drilling starts, which ought to be in about another week, we'll have 2 drill rigs here that will be drilling holes down about 220 foot each. So they'll be here 2 to 3 months doing that.